Our very first part of the assignment was to show up at BWP Yard at 5 a.m. Sunday morning. We had to, at that time we were informed we had to catch a flight by 9 or 10 a.m. out of March Air Force Base. So we had very little prep time. We just threw the stuff in the trucks and away we went. So grabbed as much rain gear as we could, tools as we could, and we shipped 5 trucks down to March Air Force Base. All our trucks did not go in one plane. All our trucks were divided up into actually 3 different flights. We put in 2 of these in the C5 along with 3 other trucks. They don't want to operate your vehicle as you do, so you drive them right into the aircraft. They anchor them down, get in your jump seat, and away you go. I was the first to arrive at JFK Airport, which is in part of Queens actually, and Queens was totally out of power. And so I had the chance just to go out and look around town a little bit, and everybody was out of power. There was no gas to be found. There was long lines, a lot of police activity at the gas stations that did have gas. So I just said, wow, this is a lot worse than I thought. Monday night we were briefed that Tuesday morning early we were going to be heading out to get checked in with LIPA, Long Island Power Authority, which is located a little, probably an hour away from JFK Airport where we were. We first arrived at the staging area, which was at Bethpage State Park. Bethpage is a famous golf course that some people might be familiar with. Anyway, at that location, I would say there was close to 500 trucks from all over the United States. It's the first time it really hit me how large this crisis is, I guess you'd say. And it was huge, and this was just a one-day check-in. So keep in mind that this 500 trucks we saw was only was Tuesday's check-in. So Wednesday was a whole nother group the same size, Thursday. So it really amazed me how well coordinated it was and how the amount of manpower that was being delivered to this area. When we first arrived at our first assignment was actually in a little town called Farmdale. We weren't sure what we were going to get. We heard many stories of how the coastal area of Long Island was just destroyed. And so we didn't know if we were going to the coast, and so they sent us to Farmdale, Long Island, and that was more residential, very similar to Burbank. And there was down power lines, down poles, a lot of property line work like we have here where the poles are behind the houses, not out on the street, which is what we're very familiar with. So we were excited to take it on, but at the same time we felt bad for these people who had been out 8 days by now. When we actually responded, we were sometimes the first people to show up. These people had been out, they haven't heard from their utility company, and so we had heard it had been assessed, but we're not sure by how much, because when we got there they hadn't heard when they're going to be on. These people were pretty desperate, pretty confused, and so I was surprised at how we were 8 days in, but still pretty much first responders. When we first arrived, a nor'easter was forecast to come in just in a few hours. So we started working probably around 7:30 in the morning. By noon it was almost like an ice rain that was coming down, and by 3 o'clock it started snowing. And it turns out it was a little colder than we thought. So we have a crew of 10, and one of the guys on the crew just ran out to the nearest sports place and got as many warm weather gloves as he could, some hoods and stuff like that. Those are elements we're not really too used to, but the type of work we were doing we were very familiar with. So we felt good about what we were doing. It was some bucket truck work, but a lot of climbing. And so we were hitting it pretty aggressively. Once we started working you start at 6 a.m. and you finish at 10 p.m. And our first day we didn't really know where we're staying. Some guys we heard were even sleeping in their trucks. So we didn't really know exactly, we just started working. The first afternoon, the fire captain, it's all volunteer fire department back there, came up and said that they're dividing their firehouse up into 2 areas, and we get to sleep on the floor in one of the areas there. It turned out to be their city hall, Chamber of Commerce, where they have their city hall meetings, so we slept on the floor there. Red Cross provided cots. And as far as the people out there, we've heard of the New York reputation, how they're kind of tough people and everything, and they could not have treated us any better. They treated us with open arms. They welcomed us. They were very happy to see us. Everyone offers you coffee when you put their power back on, and when they found out where we were from, they were more than helpful. At the same time, they might yell at you like, "Hey, where's our power going to be on? Hey, come on! Oh, you guys are the best." So they would give you both a chop down and a compliment at the same time, but they were the best people ever. I felt privileged to be back there and to be able to do it. So for me, the reward was bigger for me than their thanks for saying thank you, and they were so appreciative that it was the highlight of my career. It was very touching for me, and I felt like the one saying thank you to them.
We've had feedback in several. We've had emails, we've had letters, we've had phone calls. For example, here's an email that we received. Our many thanks to the crews from Burbank who were directly responsible for restoring power to our neighborhood in Farmingdale. They were not only professional, but they were also a group of real nice guys. You are lucky to have them in your employ. Thanks again for all your help. Sincerely, John and Lucy Tarnell.
It made me extremely proud, and I know when we went out there, we were representing Burbank and a lot of other people from the West Coast, and I had a great crew. I had a crew that worked extremely hard, and like I said, we have great equipment, we have a great training program, and you put all those things together, and it was a very proud moment for us and for Burbank.